2 tonight of this 4-game series from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. The Nationals struggling this season at 5-16, and the Cardinals, the best record right now in the major leagues, at 16-7. Al Hrabosky, Dan McLaughlin, and a familiar face and good friend, Bob Carpenter. How are things, Bob?
Dan, they could be better here in Washington. Hopefully tonight, with a good young pitcher going, we won't see the kind of baseball we saw here last evening.
And let's talk a little bit about the pitching matchup here tonight. Al, let's start with Todd Wellemeyer. Cardinals really need to get a good start from him.
And Dave Duncan is really excited. They've kind of refined a few things in his delivery. We're going to show you pitching on the road where he has won his only start and pitched very effectively. All these pitches here are good pitches, but that's not what we've seen from him at home.
Now, Bob, don't play play-by-play here. Be the analyst. What are we going to see tonight?
The kid's 22. He's got a lot of stuff. He can throw mid-90s with the fastball, a breaking ball into mid to upper 80s. Guys, he's a Midwest boy from Wisconsin. He pitched his major league debut in a downpour, so this is a great night for him to pitch.
We miss you. Good to see you.
Dan, good to see you. Al, have a great show, guys.
You bet. That's Bob Carpenter, the voice of the Nationals. Dan and Al with you here on Fox Sports Midwest. First pitch and starting lineups coming up next. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. With just the right taste, it never fills you up. The difference is drinkability. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Auto Tire, for the lowest prices in town, choose Auto Tire. We shop the competitors so you don't have to. And by Chevy, see your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at stlchevy.com. Expecting a bigger crowd here tonight. Nationals Park, we had just over 18,000 last night. And it's game 2 of this 4-game series. And how about Tony La Russa and the Cardinals as we turn the page on April? The Redbirds own the best record in baseball at 16-7. The Cardinals, one of the reasons that they're having success is their offense, hitting .285 as a team, and Skip Schumacher at the top of that lineup with an 11-game hitting streak. Then Joe Thurston, Albert Pujols, Chris Duncan, Ryan Ludwig, Rick Ankiel. Yadier Molina is in the lineup tonight. Initially, he was not. Tyler Green at short and Todd Wellemeyer, the pitcher. Our Marshall Wireless starter is Jordan Zimmerman, and they're expecting big things from this guy.
Well, they've already seen big things from him. He's 2-0 in his 2 starts, good ERA, throws 95 miles an hour.
First pitch of the game brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Skip Schumacher is hitting .300. No home runs, 9 RBIs. He's at second base once again tonight. They say he's got a pretty good curveball too, but the thing that they love about Jordan Zimmerman, who's all of 22 years of age, a riding fastball in the mid-90s. He's got a curve, a slider, and a changeup, and that's popped foul out of play.
And he's also developed a little cutter that he can have come in on these left-handed batters. Nice 11-game hitting streak on the line for Schumacher.
0-2 pitch. Pulled to the right side, a fair ball taken by Nick Johnson. He'll step on the bag for the first out. Let's meet the Nationals defensively tonight. Adam Dunn in left, Willie Harris in center, Elijah Dukes moves from center to right. Zimmerman, Guzman, Hernandez, and Johnson along the infield. Jordan Zimmerman and Jesus Flores, the battery tonight. Manny Acta, none too pleased once again with his bullpen and his starter after the game last night, and his quote was pretty telling. He said, "Why be intimidated when you're in last place in a half-filled stadium? Throw strikes, go at the hitters."
Not a good example to start talking about the lack of fans. And maybe he's getting a little frustrated, and some people are wondering if he's on his way out himself.
And that catches the outside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. Joe Thurston at third base again tonight. Average is dipped to under 300. He was 0 for 4 last night. Hitting .278. No home runs and 11 RBIs. Fights it off and lines it into the seats. You don't need to alienate your fan base by saying that.
No, you're trying to win your fans and get them to come through the turnstile. And of course, how ugly that game was last night. You know, it's hard to get fans to come, but it looks like it's going to be a bigger crowd.
There's a check swing on the breaking ball and a strikeout of Joe Thurston. So quickly 2 outs, and you get an idea that this guy is pretty darn good, and so is the man at the plate, Albert Pujols, who homered here last night. Pujols, what a first month of the season. Hit .337, 8 home runs, and 28 RBIs. He's averaging an RBI every 3 at-bats. You see the most RBIs in April since '54, McGuire and then Albert. And McGuire's year was 1998. We all know what happened that season.
Well, and you also know that, you know, the 28 RBIs and really one less week of playing time in April. Give you an idea how productive he's been.
See how the young Zimmerman wants to approach Albert Pujols. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, he's fearless, so he's going to go right after Albert. But he's never faced a hitter like Albert.
We saw them. The game plan was everything outside the Pujols. Don't even try to challenge him in and even go in.
And the home run he hit in the first inning was a pitch down and away.
3-0, and he's swinging away. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Quality pitch right there, 3-0. 95-mile-an-hour fastball down, a little movement to it.
The 3-1 pitch. Pujols smokes it out to deep left field. And this one is a home run. Look at that. Albert Pujols again kept it fair. Just like April, we start May with a home run. That's number 9, RBI number 29, and a 1-0 St. Louis lead.
Well, he adds to his league lead in RBIs, and now he's tied in home runs. And there's a souvenir. 3-1 pitch, and he doesn't get it down and away. Started coming up and in, but it's up over the middle of the plate, and Albert gave it a ride. The only question, would it stay fair or foul?
That was a high, long drive off the bat of Pujols. He hit that a mile high, Al. Also hit it deep.
Almost hit it as high as we are.
That's tough to do.
So I guess a little less than a mile.
For our position, this is the highest in baseball, undoubtedly. 1 ball, 1 strike on Chris Duncan, the left fielder. Jordan Zimmerman, 22, from Wisconsin. He pitched at Wisconsin Stevens Point. And after his junior year, he had a non-arm injury, and it dropped his stock, turned him into a second-round steal for the Nationals. He had a broken jaw, suffered early in the season in college. He dropped down, and the Nationals, because of his college background, really pushed him hard and promoted him aggressively, and here he is already in the major leagues.
He pitched that whole year.
Little floater out to left off the glove of Guzman, and a base hit.
Zimmerman pitched the entire year, his final year in college, with his mouth and jaw wired shut. Was hit during batting practice by a line drive.
You were talking about.
I can understand. He's from that baseball powerhouse.
Yeah, Wisconsin Stevens Point. You were talking about last night, though, the fact that if they can't sign certain players, where they stay in the draft, and also when you lose free agents. And Jordan Zimmerman was selected with the second of 2 compensatory picks when Alfonso Soriano signed with the Chicago Cubs. This is Ryan Ludwig. Last night he was 0 for 2, feeling much better. Ludwig was a pinch hitter for Rasmus, and then stayed in the ball game. That's a hanging breaking ball, but popped up into shallow right. Elijah Dukes is there. Albert Pujols, 9th home run, 29th RBI. 1-0 after a half inning. Amazing. Albert Pujols hitting now .340, 9 home runs, 29 RBIs for the first place Cardinals. And he's given the Cardinals a 1-0 lead. A look at the lineup for the Nationals. Christian Guzman off to a great start at .419. Then Nick Johnson and Ryan Zimmerman. Adam Dunn, Elijah Dukes, Jesus Flores, Willie Harris, Anderson Hernandez, and Jordan Zimmerman. No relation to the third baseman, Ryan Zimmerman. Jordan spells his name a little bit differently. First pitch is taken low by Christian Guzman, a switch hitter and shortstop for the Nationals. Marshall Wireless, 5th start for Todd Wellemeyer. 1-2 is his record as this one has popped up. To the left side, Joe Thurston gives it a look, and it's out of play.
Well, Dan, the one thing about Todd, this is only his second start on the road. On the road, he has won the one start at Arizona, 7 innings, only 1 run allowed. All of his bad starts, 4 of them have been at home. And Dave Duncan expects him to turn the corner tonight with a good bullpen session in between starts.
That slap the other way. Long way to go for Duncan near the line, and he's got it. He was playing in because you anticipate Guzman slapping it, and he gets that first out.
That'll help settle in things.
Let's take a look at the Cardinals defense presented by Auto Tire. Duncan and Keel and Ludwig in the outfield. Thurston, Tyler Green, Skip Schumacher, Albert Pujols along the infield, and Wellemeyer and Yadier Molina, the battery tonight. The Auto Tire defense. Here is Nick Johnson, and he looks at a high strike. Chef Robert and Brady pass along a note. Want to say hi to all the folks back in St. Louis. They're part of the Stan Musial Society here in Washington. Big Cardinal fans. 1 ball, 1 strike on Nick Johnson. You wonder if he can stay healthy. 07, missed the entire year. Last year, only 38 games. Had a broken leg 2 years ago. Wrist injury a season ago. But he can hit. Takes a ball upstairs, 2 balls and 1 strike. I remember he was part of the Javier Vasquez deal and the main player that came from the Yankees over to Montreal at that time.
Leg injury really took him a long time to recover.
Some felt that he was not going to be able to recover and that his career was in jeopardy. That was going to be it. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Not what Wellemeyer wants. He's had 2 hitters now. He's pitched behind to both of them, or not throwing first pitch strikes.
And there's a ball 4. Our Toyota keys to the game for Al.
We'll get more into it, but Wellemeyer's trying to go straight at the hitters. He's always thrown a little bit across his body. They're trying to correct that. Zimmerman, we've already seen you're going to get a lot of fastballs of him. It's a good one. You've got to be able to catch up and get the early lead. When you're playing a second division team, you want to get on top of them and just convince them that they can't. They're going to have to play catch up, and they can't do so.
Ryan Zimmerman at the plate, third baseman for the Nationals, has a 19-game hitting streak on the line. He was 1 for 4 last night with an opposite field home run. Almost picked up a 3-run shot when he hit it to the wall and right. And he has a 9-game personal hitting streak against the Cardinals. Here's a double play ball. Green, Schumacher, wide throw. Pujols is on the bag and a double play. 6-4-3. He's done all the little things this year. The MVP, Albert Pujols. Had 2 hits in the first. Included in there was Albert Pujols' solo home run. 1-0 after an inning of play. Create your own Cardinals collectible using your favorite photos at the photo store on STLCardinals.com. 3 easy steps. You make your very own Cardinals memory. Go to STLCardinals.com today. Here's Rick Ankiel, and the first pitch is a strike on the outside corner. Rick with a couple of key at-bats in game 1 of this series. Tied the game up in the 7th with a sacrifice fly. And then with his RBI double, that put the Cardinals on top to stay in the 9th. He grounds out, though, in his first at-bat here in game 2.
Zimmerman just attacking the zone, so that's why you got to be ready for that first fastball you see. And good to see Molina. Didn't make the start yesterday. Tony anticipated that he'd still be a little bit under the weather and not make the start today, but he came to the ballpark, said, I'm strong, I'm fine. And of course, he's back in the lineup.
It's good to see the Cardinals win that game. It was essentially handed to them by the way that Washington pitched and played. 4 of the runs began as walks, and a 5th run as a hit batter for the Cardinals last night, as Washington just did not throw strikes.
There's 11 walks, couple hit batsmen.
Daniel Cabrera, their starter last night, had 4 wild pitches in 6 innings. Remember, the first one was behind the head of Albert Pujols. Then he eventually knocked one out of the ballpark. But he had 93 pitches. There's Cabrera in 6 innings. And the bullpen had 90 pitches for 3 innings. There's a liner caught by Guzman.
How can you get on Cabrera? He got a quality start.
Right. He had the quality start. But in the game, 11 walks and 2 hit batters.
6 innings, less than 3 runs. Quality start. An agent's stat.
Yes, it is. Nice debut last night for Tyler Green. And not a bad 9th inning. Hit, RBI, and also a steal. First-round pick out of Georgia Tech back in 2005. Colby Rasmus in that draft was actually taken 2 picks earlier than this man, Tyler Green.
Yeah, we had to have a compensation pick in there because Colby was the 28th player selected and Tyler was the 30th.
At the time of his recall from Memphis, he was hitting .296 in 19 games, had a couple of home runs and 9 RBIs. What stood out, though, was his on-base percentage. It was around .420.
And I think he had 7 stolen bases.
Foul tip held on to by Jesus Flores. 1, 2, 3. The Cardinals go in order. Bottom of the second rolls in our nation's capital. It's 1-0. Cardinals leading the Nationals. Well, the Cardinals have a great deal for all college students and staff. College nights feature discounted loge box seats for just $10. And the next college night is Monday, May 4th, when the Cardinals face the Phillies. Get your tickets today at stlcardinals.com/college. There's Mitchell Boggs as Tony La Russa described his outing to Pat Paris and other members of the media last night. He said outstanding, as Adam Dunn pops one foul. And Mitchell was saying that the one that he wanted back was when he hit Austin Kearns. That was in the 6th. He had struck out Adam Dunn, who's at the plate now. He had struck out Elijah Dukes, so he had 2 strikeouts in the inning and was sailing along. He hits him, and then Jesus Flores would hit the triple. And then you had Anderson Hernandez with a double. There's Kearns. And all of a sudden, instead of being on top and leaving with all those strikeouts, he was trailing in the game. But he pitched well.
Yes. 9 strikeouts, career high.
Look at our Firestone leaderboard. Adam Dunn, on base percentage leaders on the road. That's inside.
He leads the National League in walks. 40 home runs a year ago. Consistently delivers that amount.
9 strikeouts for Boggs, first since Anthony Reyes in '06 to see a starter get that for the Cardinals. Anthony, of course, in the Cleveland organization now. Cardinals off to a great start. They are 16-7 now, and playing some of the best baseball, obviously, than anybody else in the league.
That was the best record in the major leagues. You'd have to assume so.
And that's just inside. Let's go back to what you were talking about with Dave Duncan.
Well, you watch Wellemeyer. He always throws across his body. Now, almost every left-hander throws across their body, but very few right-handers. And when you throw across your body, it's very difficult to get your arm in the proper slot. You're always trying to play catch-up a little bit. So your arm's going to be dragging, and having command not only of the fastball or breaking ball is going to be elusive.
Here's Elijah Dukes. And Dukes gets one up in the zone and lines it into right center, and the catch made by Rick Ankiel.
It's a catch. He dropped it afterwards, but it was when he reached in to make the exchange.
Got a good jump on that ball.
Kind of maybe had a little top spin as it started sinking on him, where at the last second he has to dive for it. But he has made some very nice diving catches already this year. Backhanding it, making contact with the ground, and still able to hold on to it. You see he reached into the glove, so when he dropped it, it was fine.
And here's the catcher, Jesus Flores. Last year, the Nationals thought that this Rule 5 pickup would spend time in Columbus in the minor leagues, and that wasn't the case, was it? He had Paul LaDuca and Estrada in front of him, and Jesus Flores wound up being the best of the 3.
Real nice Rule 5 pickup. He had a rough night last night, and talking with Dave Duncan, he said it's tough to catch when you got a guy that you don't know where it's going.
call for a pitch, you're setting up inside, it goes outside, or one behind Albert's back, another one between Rasmus's legs. And, you know, after that, you get a little gunshot back there.
He was 2 for 4 last night. Double play candidate here. Cardinals have turned one double play. Popped up and in the seats. What gets the attention for anybody that follows the Cardinals, it's Albert Pujols. You see the gaudy home run numbers, the average, and the RBIs. But how about the little things that he's done already? You know, you think about the 4 steals, but the stretch at first on the double play. How many times has he saved, you know, some of those balls in the dirt? Now, he has committed 4 errors, but a lot of those are because he's so aggressive.
I mean, it's amazing the things that you look back at a victory and you see the things that he contributed to it.
There's a liner into left center that'll drop for a base hit. Dunn will stop at second. Walk, a line out, and now a base hit. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, it's David Wright and the Mets. They'll head to Philly to take on Ryan Howard and the world champions. A showdown between bitter division rivals. Fox Saturday Baseball tomorrow. Here's Willie Harris. He gets the start in center field tonight, with Dukes shifting to right field. Willie Harris had 13 home runs last year for the Washington Nationals, and that was one back of the team lead. I mean, think about that.
And he's a speed guy.
That's right. In mid-June, they thought about releasing him. He was hitting 146, had a couple of home runs, and then wound up hitting 251 and 13 home runs for the year. So he finished up very strong.
And just coming back to the roster as he missed 12 games with a left oblique strain.
Popped up and out of play. You get the feeling that for Todd Wellemeyer, May might be the right time for him to get going. Last May, he was outstanding. He was 4-0 and the National League Pitcher of the Month in 2008.
He's big and strong, and he's just, you know, trying to battle his way through it. But Dave Duncan said they tried a couple things in between starts. He was real excited about the prospects for where you see Wellemeyer like we had like last year. But it's so, you know, but when you can do it in the bullpen and you know what you're doing wrong, to translate it during the game is so much more difficult.
Runners at first and second. A count of 2 balls and 1 strike with 1 out. Cardinals lead it 1-0 on a Pujols home run. In the air, popped up, shallow left. Duncan is there.
Wellemeyer's so big and strong, though, when you really kind of figured that kind of wears down a couple innings, and then those mechanics will come into play and he'll get much better.
Somebody suggested to him, don't get too comfortable, and he said very quickly right back at him, he said, I'm probably the least comfortable guy you will meet in the major leagues. He said, it has not been easy for me to get to this spot, and I don't take it for granted.
And his temperament, his mannerisms, nothing changes. You know, you don't even know he's even on the team or in the clubhouse. He's just so quiet and sticks to himself. But he's a fun, when you engage him in a conversation, it's very entertaining and fun when it comes out.
13-9 a year ago. Opponents only hit .245 against him. Coming into the season, Wellemeyer had an ERA just over 3 with the St. Louis Cardinals. Even fought through shoulder soreness a couple of times in his tenure here. Fought off into shallow left. Duncan makes the catch. Well, the Cardinals have won a couple of straight. They're 16-7. We'll hear from the skipper on this fine start when we come back. The score is 1-0 as we move to the top of the third. The Cardinals are 16-7 and atop the major leagues. Here's Tony La Russa.
Well, I just think you know, like a lot of clubs, we put in a very active spring training, but the guys don't work it. They don't get ready, and our guys have really worked hard the last couple of years, so we've had good Aprils. So now we got to prove we're good enough in May and the next 5 months, but it comes from hard work. Our guys have worked hard to start the season with a lot of things going good for us.
This is Todd Wellemeyer. Now the Cardinals begin May today in first place, 3.5 game lead over Milwaukee. Now there have been other teams that Tony La Russa's skipper that have had first place locked up on May 1st, back in 2000, 05, 06, and most recently a year ago. It is early.
Well, that's what he's talking about. You know, then we'll find out if you're good enough. But it all starts with Tony and his staff, the hard work they put in, the preparation. It helps when your superstar is one of the hardest workers, if not the hardest worker on the team. You know Ludwig, you know Schumacher. Look at all the work he put in with Pacini and Oquendo trying to learn how to play second base. Molina, you know, those guys go out there, and McCray works with all these hitters. They all put in the time, and it shows that over the course of the year, can you stay healthy enough to stay, you know, to keep this team intact.
Wellemeyer strikes out, so first time through the lineup for Jordan Zimmerman, and he strikes out 3. You can almost say, what if? The Cardinals are the only team so far this year with 16 wins. They have the largest division lead at 3.5 games. And what if you take away the blown saves? Could be a situation where you're 21-2. I mean, think about that. And these blown saves were late, 8th, 9th inning games.
Take away some of the blown saves for the Nationals, they'd be playing 500.
Good point. Little chopper. Zimmerman has it, steps, throws. Schumacher is 0 for 2. Coming up, it's Bud Light T-shirt night on Friday, May 15th at 7:15. Milwaukee makes their way to St. Louis, and the first 25,000 fans ages 21 and over receive a Bud Light Cardinals T-shirt. For tickets, go to STLCardinals.com. I know it's early, but Jordan Zimmerman is impressive.
He sure is. I mean, as advertised, and maybe better because you love the way he throws strikes.
2008 minor league pitcher of the year for Washington. He came into this season as the Nationals' #1 prospect per Baseball America. In 2007, first year in professional ball, he struck out 71 in 53 innings. That was at A ball. And then last season, A ball and AA, he was 10 and 3.
One of the few batters that is hitting ahead in the count, as he just goes out there and very aggressively throws strikes. Of course, you got the stuff that he has. You shouldn't be afraid to throw strikes.
Thurston got a piece, 2 strikes. Mentioned that the Cardinals as a team second best in the National League at 285. Their batting mark. LA at 290. Cardinals finished up the month first with runners in scoring position, batting average wise, first in runs, and first in RBIs.
How about the pitching staff?
With even Carpenter out.
Yeah, starting staff 13 and 2.
The 3-2 pitch. Here's a ground ball handled by Nick Johnson. Underhands to Zimmerman. That's 7 straight. 1-0. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. By Aflac, we've got you under our wing. And by the Casino Queen, home of the loosest slots. Home run trot from about 20 minutes ago at Albert Pujols to make it 1-0 Cardinals. Something that they've done in back-to-back nights here. Heading to the bottom of the third is recognize 4 veterans that are here as guests from the Walter Reed Military Hospital, and that's great to see. And every time that they do that, a standing ovation.
Rightfully so.
Absolutely. Good pitch to Jordan Zimmerman. Quickly, 2 strikes. And an 0-2 pitch. Got him to chase, held on to by Molina. First strikeout for Todd Wellemeyer.
And we found out the kid can't hit. He can pitch, though. But I expect Todd to kind of settle in a little bit, start pitching a little better. Hopefully he can start getting ahead in the count.
Back to the top of the lineup, and Christian Guzman shows bunt and takes a strike. Christian Guzman, 6 years in Minnesota, and he only hit .219 back in 2005, but he has bounced back quite nicely. Sat out all of 2006, and then after that season, Al, he had LASIK surgery. Back to Wellemeyer, nice play.
Well, they kind of felt like he was injured. Had a couple little injuries and felt like he should play because of the big contract, and it kind of all snowballed in a negative fashion against him.
And here's Nick Johnson. One thing about Nick Johnson, if he's healthy, he'll hit for average, and he will make that pitcher work. He's got one of the best batting eyes in all of Major League Baseball. And takes a ball outside. Walked his first time up as Wellemeyer has walked 2 and struck out 1.
Hey, devil's advocate, you kind of wondered, does he have enough power to play a power position like first?
Good point. Right now, the Cardinals are getting away with not having Troy Gloss, with 2 guys that aren't hitting for power with that rotation over there, but production has been there.
Production has been with Thurston and Barden. And we're just happy to see 2 guys getting a chance and play well.
When you win like this, it's amazing how early the players want to get to the ballpark, leave the hotel, and be here and just be around this atmosphere of winning.
Tony kind of insists upon that too. You know, that you get to the ballpark, it's all business. But you're right, when you're winning, it's it just makes it fun to come to the ballpark. Winning becomes contagious. Hitting becomes contagious.
Johnson into right, and a base hit. It's interesting you say that, because Randy St. Clair has been the pitching coach of this franchise since 2003. And he was asked after the game last night about all the walks, and he said, look, we're dealing with young guys, and they feed off each other. When one pitcher does well, the next guy comes in normally and pitches well. He said in years past, we've had Chad Cordero, John Roush, Luis Ayala, you know, guys that didn't walk people. They may have gotten beaten up some nights, but they didn't walk people. And right now, our pitchers are feeding off each other in that regard.
See if you agree with this, Dan. If you are physically sound, there is no excuse to walk people other than lack of concentration.
Absolutely. I mean, Dave Duncan has been the first one to say that.
I mean, you have to know your mechanics well enough to get your position, get your arm to that point where you throw strikes.
Now, Wellemeyer was a guy for a while in his career. Struggled with his control, and he got to St. Louis. Not that it's been great, but it has been better.
Much better. And just part of it, remember, they try to get him to back down a little bit. Fastball down and away, see if he hits a spot.
We talk about it all the time, but you watch a guy like Carpenter, when he's right, gets the ball back to the mound, gets a sign, and when he walks somebody, he is visibly shook up. He's so upset about it.
Yeah, and even when you're concentrating, you know, you're going to miss at times, but going back up, down and away again. And
3-1.
If you're going to miss, you'd rather miss like that rather than out over the middle of the plate. But sometimes we give hitters way too much credit, and just sit there and say, okay, get that ball down and away, just get a little ground ball to second base. Have the hitter go with the pitch, or in the case here, trying to pitch him away, and he rolls over the top of it, hits a nice little ground ball to short. But either way, it's a ground ball in the infield.
Here's a 3-1 pitch to Ryan Zimmerman. Painted the black on the outside corner. That is a terrific pitch.
It's a good pitch, and it's also a pitch that Zimmerman probably not looking for it there on a 3-1. Good hitters count, but say, you know, hey, I'll concede that pitch to the pitcher. Now we'll see if you can duplicate it.
Let's see what they want to come with here on 3-2.
Fastball away. Let's get it down.
Runner off with this pitch. Smoked out to right center. Drops in for the hit. And Keel quickly back into the infield. And Zimmerman on a 3-2 pitch lines it into center. And it's first and third now for Adam Dunn with 2 outs.
20-game hitting streak for Zimmerman, the longest in the National League this year and the longest in their young franchise. He hit a spot, but you got to talk about a good hitter, and he didn't try to do too much with it. Gets him to reach for it. But, you know, it's on the outside part of the plate. You got to throw a strike there. You know, sometimes you got to give the hitter credit also.
Now Dunn. He was the big free agent signing for Washington this offseason. You could pretty much pencil him in for 40 home runs. He's done that the last 5 years. Already was 6 this year. And against Todd Wellemeyer in his career, he's the only one with an extensive history against the right-hander. 2 for 11 with 7 walks now and 6 strikeouts.
Good pitch there. Change speeds on him. Get a lot of strikeouts, a lot of home runs, and a lot of walks from Dunn.
Played for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. 1-1 pitch. Dunn pops it up. A play. Who wants it? Thurston has it. Started in foul territory and made the play on the infield in fair territory. Albert Pujols is coming up. All eyes on Albert. Jordan Zimmerman has retired 7 in a row. 1-0 Cardinals. Pitch was a strike to Pujols, and the second one is fouled off the mask of Jesus Flores.
Flores really accentuating setting up outside.
You think about the power and the lack of strikeouts with Albert Pujols already with 9 home runs, but only 7 strikeouts this year. That's lined into right center field, and that ball will get to the wall. Pujols is on his way to second. You can see where Willie Harris thought about diving after it. Didn't take a real good line to it. And it's a leadoff double for Pujols on an 0-2 mistake by Jordan Zimmerman.
And it would have been a mistake if Willie Harris would have dove too, because he wouldn't have caught it. And I think this ball just jumps out. Look at how far outside the catcher is setting up. And there it catches a little bit more of the plate. And a good piece of hitting, and Albert slicing out into right center.
Now, Pujols only 54 strikeouts total a year ago. They said that's something he really worked on since his rookie year. That season he struck out 93 times, and tonight he is 2 for 2.
Hard to believe with the home run totals that he's put up that he's never had a 100 strikeout season.
And 8 years in the big leagues now, and never has hit less than 314. Never hit fewer than 32 home runs. As Duncan cranks this one into deep right field, and this is out of here. A 2-run shot for Chris Duncan. He's 2 for 2. A couple of home runs for the Cardinals on this Friday night, and it's 3-0 St. Louis.
Chris's 3rd home run. That has to please Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa and all the Cardinals in that dugout. Set up away, and it's just up, and look at it, gets his arms extended. Gets that good reach, and he didn't hit that ball as well as he could, but it just shows you his strength.
Here's Ludwig, who flied to right first time up. A 3-0 Cardinals lead. Ludwig on the ground to third. Charging Zimmerman. Flips it to first. And that's the first out here in the fourth. Middle inning scoring. See the Cardinals in the differential. That is huge. 83 runs. And the runs against 41. And we've been seeing that the starters, for the most part, have been getting you 6 or 7 innings as of late.
Well, what's happening a lot of times is with this offense scoring machine, they get to a starter at the end of his string and get into that very vulnerable middle relief.
And this is a lineup, we talked about this the other night, but it's pretty unforgiving. You know, you have Ankiel now with a year under his belt from a year ago. Duncan is healthy. He adds an element. Certainly Ludwig back with all the confidence in the world following an all-star season. You've got the game's best player in Pujols. Schumacher is in there every day. Molina has become a better hitter. I mean, it's an unforgiving lineup right now.
And, you know, as we talked about, hitting becomes contagious. You really, obviously, Albert is such a big part of it. And he can assume all that responsibility. But everybody else can just relax and just kind of contribute. You know, they don't have to feel the pressure. And Albert can handle that pressure. Here's
a 1-2. A check swing, and he went. Strikeout of Ricky Ankiel. And that's the 4th strikeout for Jordan Zimmerman. Well, kids, tomorrow on Fox Sports Midwest, watch a new episode of Cardinals Crew at a special time, 4 p.m. Andy Bennis and Fred Bird host, and this week Fred Bird shows off his special powers of reasoning. Cardinals Crew is made possible by Shriners Hospital for Children. Airs Saturdays on Fox Sports Midwest. I was talking with a scout the other day that said they believe Pujols has actually taken his game to a different level because of just the little things that he's been doing. And they can just see this is, without question, his team. He's the leader, and he leads in all aspects. And what the scout said to me is what he picked up is when he's talking to his pitching staff and some of the young guys in the bullpen that come in, to watch him come in from first base to calm people down. The stolen bases, just the little things that help you win games.
Can't emphasize what that means to a young pitcher when your superstar comes over there and lends a helping hand. You know, I mean, that just reinforces what he's saying and just to relax.
Zimmerman bare hands and makes the play. Molina is 0 for 2 with a line out and a ground out. Couple of home runs tonight. Albert Pujols back in the first with his 9th, and Duncan picks up his 3rd, a 2-run homer, 3-0. You can celebrate the 30th anniversary of Lou Brock's 3,000th career hit Sunday, May 17th at Busch Stadium. 25,000 fans ages 16 and older receive a Lou Brock replica statue. Get your tickets today by calling 345-9000 or visiting stlcardinals.com. For the home run hitters, Duncan and Pujols, and it's added up to a 3-0 lead. Here's Elijah Dukes. I spoke to Elijah Dukes today.
You did. And was it inspiring?
He is put together, I can tell you that. He was telling me that when he was in high school, I said, you look like a football player. He said, I did everything. Kickoff return, punter. I was the kickoff man, extra points, linebacker, running back, at times quarterback.
And he's also 5 for his last 28.
Tampa Bay did not think much of him, so they let him go for what most believe to be a career minor leaguer.
Well, there's no doubt he has immense talent. And they had a situation where Dukes and others were playing in the minor leagues, and all of them very highly touted prospects, but all had disciplinarian problems.
2-2 pitch. Mentioned that it's Lou Brock's statue coming up, the giveaway at the ballpark. And today, back in 1991, Ricky Henderson would break Lou Brock's record for stolen bases, number 939 at the time. And that's into the corner for Dukes, and he's on his way to second. And today, I am the greatest, claimed Ricky Henderson.
Lou Lou was gracious enough to follow Ricky and the A's around until he broke that record. Kind of stumbling as he goes around the bases there. And
big man. He's 6'1", 250 pounds.
Appears to be okay, but doesn't exactly look like a running back going around the base. Now they're going to check him, as training staff and Manny Actor are going to come out and talk to him.
By the way, the news was okay on Jim Reynolds. If you were tuned in last night, you may have seen him get hit in the head with a warm-up pitch from Blaine Boyer. It was a cutter apparently that didn't cut, and Jim Reynolds had his head down, was not wearing a protective helmet, and it hit him right on top of the head. Pujols and Duncan tonight 4 for 4. Rest of the team is 0 for 12 with 4 strikeouts. How about Blaine Boyer? Speaking of the Cardinal bullpen, nice outing. Saw a good breaking ball. Fastball was on the black, and that was good to see.
I talked to Boyer about his outing, and they totally revamped his windup. And I said something to Dave Dungy. He said, no, give Marty Mason the credit for that. He's done a nice job as they got him throwing a two-seam fastball, but they kind of a little bit of like Wellemeyer. They felt that his windup was so bad in the sense that his arm couldn't catch up. And, you know, it just, now they've got him reaching out, finishing off pitches, and he had extremely impressive out him last night.
And remember, at the beginning of this season, Wellemeyer had changed his windup. Won't see it here because he's working from the stretch of play in front of him and throws wide, but Thurston, a nice play.
Boy, what
the
athletic play.
And the tag of Elijah Dukes is that was a poor throw from Tyler Green.
A bad base running decision by Dukes with a ball hit in front of him trying to advance. Tyler Green reacted well, but he threw a sinker to Thurston, and Thurston, with such great athleticism, makes a good play. Can't run with the ball is hit like that, and he throws right there. But look at Thurston reaching.
I wonder if he's blocking the bag too with his left leg.
Well, I think he just got a sinker to look at what unintentionally he's blocking it, but I think he got his arm back to make the tag as he's catching it too.
And here is Willie Harris. Thurston now playing in at third with the good speed of Harris, who flied out to left his first time up. A check swing and strike one. There is a few St. Louis connections, by the way, when you talk about the Washington Nationals. Jim Riggleman, who we talked about last night, is on that bench, as well as Rick Eckstein. There's Jim on the left and Manny Acta on the right, but Rick Eckstein was the AAA Memphis hitting coach in '07, and the older brother of former Cardinal David Eckstein, who's now at the Padres.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about young Brad Burnson. You know, he's labeled as a media relations assistant here. He's from St. Louis and the son of Don and Julie out in St. Charles. But, you know, Brad, I think I saw him ordering Stan Kasten around the other day. And quite the executive already.
He's willing to boss a lot of the people around here, as we noted.
Scared me.
0-2 pitch to Harris outside.
What was the high school he went to?
McClure North.
McClure North.
He's working in Chicago, now working here in Washington. Said his parents don't miss a Cardinal game.
Kind of following the money trail, right?
That's right. I'm sure his mom and dad will appreciate that. 1-2 pitch on its way to Harris. A little bit high. It was interesting to see that Wellemeyer changed his windup, though, at the beginning of this season after coming off one of his best years, if not the best, in the major leagues for him.
Somehow Wellemeyer's mind thought that was logical.
A 2-2 pitch. Reaching for it, hit to Schumacher. Out there, double play. Second turned by the Cardinals tonight. 4-6-3. We played 4, and it's 3-0. In our nation's capital, Dan McLaughlin, Al Hrabosky with you. 4 hits aside, and it's 3-0 Cardinals. The Home Depot brings us our defensive play. This is Green. Nice pick by Thurston. And again, that's brought to you by the Home Depot. Tyler Green will lead it off for the Cardinals. Again, it's shortstop tonight. As Elijah Dukes made that mistake on the base pass going from second to third. Tyler Green said he got a call at about 11 o'clock at night. He was in his Memphis apartment with his wife. And he made the trek quickly to Washington. His dad came up from Florida. Wife traveled with him to see his major league debut last night. All but 4 games of his pro career have been at shortstop. Khalil Green is banged up. Brendan Ryan is on the DL.
It's kind of amazing how quick they can get to the big leagues and how slow it takes them to get to the minor leagues.
10 different connections. It's tough to get back. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Green. Check swing. Did not go 2-2.
And the best thing, because of injury to Brendan Ryan and a little tendonitis in the wrist of Khalil Green, Tyler doesn't have to sit. You know, get a chance to come up here and play. When you're playing every day in the minor leagues, you kind of lose your edge if you sit for an extended period.
It's something that Tony La Russa has always done, though. When a guy gets called up, he throws him right in there. Now, this, like you said, is out of necessity, but many times somebody will get called up and he puts them right in the fire.
Well, he should do it, because as I said, you know, you're playing every day. You're playing well enough to get promoted, so why let a guy just rust on the bench and get stale? And you know, and it gives a fair way to evaluate him at this level too, because he was playing well.
3-2 the count. The Cardinals shortstop tonight, Tyler Green, struck out swinging first time up. It's a fastball and fouls it back. That pitch hit 95 miles an hour.
This kid consistently will hit that 95.
All these mistakes he's made have been to Pujols and Duncan. Those two are 4 for 4 combined. And that time he gets Green.
Little breaking ball right there.
So 5 strikeouts for Zimmerman. Cardinal fans, when it comes to tickets, you deserve Major League service. So go online to StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals, and the only site with Fan Protect guarantee. Todd Wellemeyer, a 4th round selection by the Cubs back in 2000. See there, he's a big man, 6'3", 230 pounds, out of Louisville, Kentucky. He'll be 31 in August. Cardinals, of course, claimed him off of waivers from the Kansas City Royals. Wellemeyer with a base hit into right. Dukes thought about firing into first base, but Todd Wellemeyer reaches with the base hit, and he's 1 for 2. We take a look at our This State in Baseball history, brought to you by Schnucks. The last time the Cardinals won a game on May 1st, Jim Edmonds hits the walk-off home run against the Mets.
You know who won that game?
Cal Eldred.
Exactly. Walk-off home run had to be one of our late inning relievers. And Cal, who's done a great job on our pregame show, was the winner.
Since then, the Cardinals 0-4 in the last few years to open the month of May. Here's Skip Schumacher, 0 for 2. And Wellemeyer was running with a hit and run. That's being aggressive.
Well, you know, Tony takes advantage of every little situation, and got a young pitcher out there. He's kind of mad because he gave a fastball, a 3rd consecutive fastball to a pitcher, and he got a base hit. And then he kind of forgetting about the runner there. Nick Johnson, they're kind of playing behind him anyway, and they take advantage.
There's a curveball, a nasty one in there for a strike. Ryan Terrio, a grand slam for the Cubs today. They fell behind early in their game against the Marlins and eventually won it 8-6. Cubs now back to 500, 11-11. Schumacher fouls it.
'71 pitches. Pitching here in the 5th inning. Zimmerman's first 2 starts, he went 6 innings and 5 1/3. So because he hasn't walked anybody, and for the most part ahead of hitters.
Skip pulls it foul again.
You know, another sign that unlike a lot of young pitchers that at this stage of the game, they're flirting with 100 pitches.
All you want to see is that Washington bullpen.
Sure. They are 0-8 to start the young season.
Wellemeyer is the runner at first, following his opposite field single. 1-2 pitch. That's pulled foul again. So the Cubs win this afternoon. Snaps the Marlins' 3-game winning streak. Joe Mauer, the outstanding hitter and catcher for the Minnesota Twins, returns tonight against Kansas City. Randy Johnson continues his quest for 300 tonight for San Francisco. This could be 2. Guzman, Hernandez, and that's all they're going to get. Cardinals have turned 2 double plays, and that one they couldn't quite get a turn. Extends the inning to Thurston.
Well, you wonder right here if, because Wellemeyer went standing up, if Hernandez just didn't want to see that big body. May not have had the handle on it, but that's got to be turned.
And if he doesn't slide, you throw it at his head. That'll get you one way to go down, huh?
You drop down with the throw, you throw it right at his eyes, and if he doesn't want to slide, he'll pay the price for it. That he'll slide.
So here is Thurston. By the way, one of the great people behind the scenes at the Cardinals, Andy Beaulieu, and his wife Jessica had a brand new baby boy this morning, Luke Andrew Beaulieu, 7 pounds and 10 ounces. I like that first name, Luke. But Andy is a great guy, helps me with my golf tournament. I know he's helped you as well.
Sure.
He's been there for years, so congratulations to Andy and Jessica, and the baby and mama are doing well.
Congratulations. Right.
Thurston pushes it foul. You wouldn't believe how many charities Andy and Rip and Mark Walsh and all the guys down there help out with us and with some of the players and with various charities around town. They do a wonderful job. They are considered, if not the best, one of the best staffs in all of baseball. Both clubhouses.
They are the best.
I'm sorry if I forgot a name or two, but they are the best.
Yeah.
Rip Rowan is with us on this trip.
Butch Yackerman, you know, long time. Butch at one time was involved with every World Championship team. You know, from being a bat boy to a clubhouse guy. Still see Butch Yackerman getting mad at Bernie Carbo and said, you know, I was here before you and I'll be here after you.
It's a great line, isn't it?
And then Buddy Bates, you know, was great, and now Rip Rowan and Jerry Risch. What they do on what Jerry does in the training those guys on the visitor side, they're the best.
1-2 pitch. Joe Thurston, right field to the track, and the catch made by Dukes. Thurston gave it a ride into deep right field. Beautiful Washington, D.C. on a Friday night. It's 3-0. Take a look at tonight's Aflac trivia question. Get our thinking caps on here. When was the last time the Cardinals had the best record in baseball at the end of April?
Aflac!
It was a good year, 1968, 13-5.
More importantly, it was a good year for the team.
Lost in 7 games, though, to the Tigers.
Yep. Slide, Lou.
The year of Bob Gibson, too. Shallow center. Tyler Green is there. Bob Gibson, the 1.12 ERA, won the MVP and the Cy Young Award back in 1968.
Hard to imagine. 1.12 ERA, and he lost 9 games.
22 wins.
22-9. Told me he was 10-5. 10-5 and 1-0 games that year.
Well, here's Wellemeyer, maybe worn down a little bit. Let's see how he's going to pitch now.
I expected this to be, kind of the pattern that he kind of find a groove after he kind of wore himself down, knew what they had worked on and how he wanted to improve and help himself out.
And for whatever reason, so far, he has pitched so well on the road, including tonight in his other start.
This is only his second start on the road. The other one, he went 7 innings, only allowed 1 run. Problem's been at home. Also settling is, get a lead. First inning lead before you take the mound on the Albert Pujols home run. You add to it with Duncan's 2-run homer.
And he just got a piece and fouled back. Jordan Zimmerman, his first time up. The pitcher struck out swinging. And Todd Wellemeyer has struck out 1 tonight. He has walked 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Little liner to right, but positioned perfectly was Ludwig for the second out. So at home, 3 starts, he's 0-2. But then you see what he's done on the road since 2008, and he's been one of the best in baseball, just behind Tim Lincecum on the road, who won the Cy Young Award a year ago. Pretty exclusive company there in that graphic. No rhyme or reason to it, I wouldn't think. Just one of those things where you pitch a little bit better on the road. Christian Guzman.
As the season progresses, I'm sure we'll not talk about a differential, and he'll right the ship and pitch well at home also.
2 balls, no strikes. Guzman tonight is fly to left, also grounded it back to Wellemeyer. And there's a strike. Here we are, the 1st of May. And 2 of the last place teams from last year, Seattle and Detroit, now sit right at the top of their divisions. 3 of the 8 postseason clubs are below 500. Albert Pujols, who is due up first for the Cardinals, 9th in batting average after the first month. Carlos Beltran at 388. Albert was 2nd in home runs, now tied with Adrian Gonzalez of San Diego. And he leads in RBIs and leads in runs scored. Full count on Guzman. Finish up the road trip here in Washington in a brief 4-game homestand coming up. 2 will be against the Phillies, and then 2 against Pittsburgh. Ground ball, Schumacher makes the play. Pujols due up first when we come back. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. Tomorrow, Joel Pinheiro looking to go to 5-0. And Pinheiro and the Cardinals against the Nationals in Game 3. And we'll come your way at 11:30 St. Louis time right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Albert Pujols leads it off in our nation's capital. And the first pitch is a strike. Jordan Zimmerman knew that he was going to be a high draft choice. He was watching TV, seeing when he was going to be drafted. But all of a sudden the sirens were going off in his hometown in Wisconsin. You see the ground outs, the flyouts, and the strikeouts. Tornado was coming through. He had to head down to the basement and couldn't hear when he was going to be drafted. Let's take you back to the first inning. And Albert Pujols did it again.
That's a 3-1 pitch. set up away. It's in the inner half of the plate, and he hit a high towering fly ball to left field. They've been really working him away. Last time he got the double out there, look how far outside Flores, the catcher, set up.
I can't remember in this series last night or in the at-bats tonight that they tried to go inside ever.
Well, it was a mistake when they, on the ball that he hit out.
Exactly.
And Albert is aware that they're pitching him away, and so I mean he's expanding his zone out there.
He missed his spot, and it's past Guzman.
Guzman didn't want any part of that. Watch your lips, kid.
Wow.
Triple away from the cycle. But there's example right there. Even him looking away, he throws the ball down the middle, and he just crushes it.
Al, did you have guys when you were playing that all of a sudden BP came around or you're in the bullpen and the conversation just stopped? You said, this is one guy I want to watch hit.
No, I don't remember anybody like a McGuire or what they do today with Albert.
And what we're talking about is you show up at the ballpark, and usually Pujols is in one of the later groups hitting. So the opposing team comes out to stretch. Let's say we're at home at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals are first to hit. And the players will start trickling out of the dugout early just to get a peek at Pujols.
I would tell, if I was opposing manager or pitching coach, I'd ban all my pitchers from watching Albert hit.
It scare you?
Wouldn't me. I don't have to pitch to him, but them, I think it might. So
Khalil Green said something interesting to me the other day. He said when he was with San Diego, he would always make a point that if he got to first base, he would try to talk to Pujols. He would go watch him take BP. And he said in spring training this year, when he came to the Cardinals, he just tried to soak in anything that Pujols was doing. Tee work, BP in a cage, whatever he was doing in a game, obviously, that he was a part of. But just try to soak it in. Called third strike on Duncan. It brings in Ryan Ludwig.
Ryan feeling much better after a little bout with the flu bug that's been going around the team. But he's had a tough road trip, as he's only 1 for 13. Said he was feeling better yesterday. Got into the game late, and he's 0 for 2 tonight.
Logan Kensing. We saw him last night getting loose in the Washington bullpen, a right-hander. Ludwig is 0 for 2. That's on the outside corner. Go back to 08. Look at 2009. Home runs about the same. RBIs much better. And the strikeouts down in 2009. Last 2 Aprils have been solid for Ryan Ludwig. Good block that time by Flores. Kept it in front. But that ball scoots away. As aggressive that we see Pujols play at, he winds up at second base.
Absolutely. The little things we talk about, Albert's so in tune, and he's out there not, he's paying attention and trying to get an edge.
Ludwig drives it into left center field. This is pretty well hit, and that ball is gone just over the wall. Ryan Ludwig with his 6th home run. The Cardinals' second 2-run homer of their night, and their 3rd of this ball game. And all of a sudden, they've opened up a 5-0 lead. Let's go pitch by pitch here, brought to you by Chevrolet. Ludwig, the all-star from last year, with his 6th home run.
He's getting a lesson here by the Cardinals. Breaking ball, a little cutter or something, gets ahead. Then a good fastball down and away. Then he'll come back with a curveball there, and then he hangs a breaking pitch up right over the middle of the plate, and Ludwig put a charge into it. His 6th home run. RBI total up to 21 now with a 2-run shot. Zimmerman, he's as good as advertised, but this kid is getting a lesson right now, and that's going to happen with these young pitchers. But that he's going to have a promising career without an injury.
That is one of the deepest parts of this ballpark. It is 402 plus to where he hit that. 402 to dead center, but then it jets out just a little bit towards left center field. That pitch at 94 miles an hour to Ricky Ankiel, who is 0 for 2.
Up on the grass out there, dead center field.
Ankiel, a slow roller, hit to first. Nick Johnson flips to Zimmerman. Well, 6 is a serious number. When the Cardinals score 6, you get a 20-ounce coffee, fountain, or frozen drink for just $1 the next day at On the Run at Mobile. Win or lose, when the Cardinals score 6, you score 25-cent drinks at On the Run. Looking ahead, by the way, we talked about this last night. We were unsure as to whether or not we were going to see Cole Hamels of the Phillies, the outstanding lefty for Philadelphia in the upcoming 2-game series. He had a mild sprain to his left ankle. That was Tuesday night against Washington. He was supposed to throw on the side today. That's up to Molina. And the Phillies did not want him to throw today for a couple of reasons. One, it was raining. And second, they wanted to give him an extra day's rest. So Rich Doobie said we're going to have to see where he's at. Charlie Manuel said that if he does start against the Cardinals, it will be on Tuesday night in St. Louis. So they'll push him back a day.
A couple breaking balls, having trouble pulling down on it, that ended up inside to Molina.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Yadier lines it into center field. If you're Manny Acta, you've got a young pitcher out there. You're down by 5 runs. You're in a situation here, you'd love to get him through 6, but he's a young guy, pitch count over 100, and now you've got to turn it over to your bullpen.
Yeah, you really wanted him to finish that inning and, you know, come off and be in line for a comeback, but just got to protect these valuable arms. 102 pitches is too much.
So that's it for Zimmerman. Gives up 8 hits. And it's our Chevrolet call to the bullpen. Logan Kensing coming in for the Nationals. He'll face Tyler Green when we return on Fox Sports Midwest.
Welcome back. But Zimmerman, you can see he has some great stuff, but when he's made mistakes, this was a surprising one. The 3 home runs, the Ludwig one was, the Duncan one was a little bit outside, but Chris and that great arm extension was able to hook it for a home run. But Pujols and Ludwig were mistakes up, out over the plate, and at this level, those pitches are going to be crushed, and they were.
And now it's Logan Kensing. His professional career has been with the Florida Marlins. Came up back in 2004. We saw him last night. It's been a struggle this year. 0-1 with an ERA at 9. 8 innings of work. He's allowed 1 home run, but you see the opponents have hit .417 against him. This year is his 6th big league campaign. He's a hard thrower, and he did have the Tommy John surgery. That's commonplace now, as he had it back in 2006.
Yeah, he's had 3 years kind of since that Tommy John surgery, and his numbers were pretty good with Florida. Of course, them being in the Eastern Division with the Nationals, they've had a chance to see him and like his arm. He got off to a horrible start and probably had to make a deal, and so they picked him up.
The amazing thing is the amount of players that want to have Tommy John surgery now.
Some organizations would just assume you have it early, because when you recover from it, then they don't have to look forward to it again.
And when you're drafting a player, let's say even a college player that's had it before, it doesn't throw up that red flag like in years past.
And it keeps the prices down a little bit.
Yes, it does.
Remember, the Cardinals drafted the one kid out of Illinois while he was recovering from Tommy John surgery.
Hard thrower, too.
Yes.
Here's a ground ball taken by the shortstop Guzman, and he steps on the bag at second. So Green is 0 for 3. Johnson, Zimmerman, Dunn, all coming up, and it's 5-0. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Todd Wellemeyer pitching now into the 6th inning, and he has a 5-run lead. He might be the best of Dave Duncan's projects over the years. Prior to arriving in St. Louis, he was a reliever with an ERA near 6 and 178 big league innings. Dave Duncan, the longest tenured pitching coach in Major League Baseball history. There's a ball to Nick Johnson, 2-0.
Takes what you have and doesn't necessarily try to remake you. It just accentuates a positive, gets you to believe in your own stuff, maybe a little simple modification here or there, but then reinforces that by giving you the ball every 5th day.
2-1 the count on Johnson. He has walked. He's also singled. That's right down the middle. 2-2. Johnson came in hitting .338, couple of home runs and 5 RBIs. A 2-2 pitch. A little bit low, full count.
A good changeup that he has, but Johnson didn't offer.
Todd Wellemeyer made his major league debut with the Chicago Cubs, the team that drafted him. That debut was back in '03.
He's got a save in his first major league appearance, didn't he?
Yes, and in his time, as that's popped up, Thurston calling for it, then waved off by Green, but it'll be Thurston. He'll make the catch. In his time, though, with Chicago, he essentially was a long man. But what people don't remember was that he was a regular starter in the Cubs minor league system before his call-up. This is what he always wanted to do. And he said that any time that, there was talk that he would get a start, for whatever reason, it would always get pushed back or somebody else would get that start, and he never got the chance. But this is what he says he's most comfortable in doing. Ryan Zimmerman, the hitter. Well, the two Zimmermans are, something that they can sit there and look forward to as far as a fan here in Washington. Both Zimmermans, the starter tonight and this third baseman.
Well, and if you get, if you sign your #1 pick, and obviously you're going to get a good one, and if you get the kid out of San Diego State, you might, looking at this farm system and what this pitching staff, you might have to give him a major league contract and just say go get him.
You made a real interesting point. We were talking off the air last night about the situation here with attendance. You may just sign him just to sell some tickets. If he has a major league contract every 5th day and he's pitching here, you're going to have some people come to the ballpark.
Wouldn't be the first who did that. David Clyde with the Texas Rangers, but that was a high school kid. But if you can get, and it looks like with Zimmerman tonight, they had a much better crowd tonight. But if all of a sudden you get 10,000 more patrons come through to see a phenom.
Some say he's the greatest prospect of all time. He's at San Diego State. A right-handed pitcher, Steven Strasburg. Popped up into shallow right. Ludwig calling for it, and with 2 hands makes the catch.
And Dan, we know he's represented by Scott Boras, and they're making totally unreasonable demands. Now, you can ask for anything, you don't have to pay it. And even if the Nationals are going to make something that would be extremely hard to turn down. And if you want to make money, you got to start right now.
Here is Adam Dunn. Walked back in the 2nd. He's also popped out to 3rd. Team president is now Stan Kasten. He saw that Braves run of 14 straight division titles, and he knows what gets it done, which is pitching.
Now, I did talk to their general manager, who has a strong background in player development, and they're a little leery about starting a guy at the major leagues, even if he's that talented. But at some point, he's going to get here quickly, and he probably is going to have one of those major league contracts to get the job done.
That's Mike Rizzo, who was with the Diamondbacks and helped stock their farm system. Remember, Jim Bowden was on his way out. He resigned, and over the last 4 years, his winning percentage was around .400 as GM here in Washington. 1-2 the count on Dunn.
Part of the problem is they didn't have an ownership. Remember when they came here, it was kind of owned by Major League Baseball. They do have an owner now. It's questionable how deep his pockets are.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and a 5-0 Cardinals lead here in the 6th inning. The 2-2 on the outside corner, and a strikeout for Wellemeyer, his 2nd of the night. We played 6 here in Washington, all St. Louis. Take a look at the game recap presented by Infinity. The Cardinals with some good pitching and defense here tonight. 2 double plays have been turned by St. Louis. The long ball has helped out with 3 home runs. Pujols, Duncan, the latest from Ludwig, the All-Star a year ago. And another long night for Manny Active and the Nationals. Todd Wellemeyer on the first pitch flies out to Elijah Dukes in right field. That's how we start play here in the 7th, with the Cardinals leading by 5 runs.
I missed it. I want to see it. What happened?
Here you go.
Oh, now I know.
He went to right his last time and got a base hit.
Different pitcher.
Skip Schumacher is the hitter.
The 11-game hitting streak, trying to extend it.
7th inning last night, Washington had a 4-3 lead that they could not protect. And right now, if they get into a situation to close games out, they're doing it with closer by committee. Julian Tavares, Kip Wells, Joe Beimel. Joel Hanrahan is out as their closer. Remember, Chad Cordero has signed a free agent contract with Seattle, so he's no longer here. And Beimel is recovering from a left hip flexor strain, and he's on a rehab assignment with Class A Potomac. He's expected to pitch next week for Washington in Los Angeles, but he's not available this weekend.
Won't be available until Wednesday. So quick recovery, and first time in disabled list, but his 15 days aren't up until Wednesday, so that's when they'll see him.
There's a line shot on a hop to short. Christian Guzman, good play. There's 2 outs. Schumacher is 0 for 4 tonight, and it brings in Joe Thurston. We talked about some of the surprises so far in baseball. Cardinals off to the best start of anybody in the major leagues at 16-7. And at the start of play tonight, a 3.5-game lead over Milwaukee. You think about the biggest surprises so far. What about the Florida Marlins for the National League East? Kind of start that they had. They're at 14-8. Kansas City leading the American League Central. Seattle 13-9. Boston was able to rattle off 11 straight. We're 14-8 now, so that's not a surprise, but Toronto at 15-9 is.
Looking at the Rookie of the Month balloting, Thurston and Barden have a good chance. They have very good numbers, and I'd say the best numbers compared to the other position players for Rookie of the Month.
Your Player of the Month in the National League? It's a tough one, isn't it?
It's a real tough one. Albert Pujols.
There you go. 2-0 on Thurston. He's 0 for 3 tonight. He smokes this one down the right field line. It is hooking, and it's gone. The 4th home run tonight for the Cardinals. His first wearing that St. Louis Cardinals uniform for Joe Thurston.
He's flirted with it, but now he has it. One of the goals for Tony La Russa's team is to score at least in 4 innings. They've accomplished that with 4 home runs. 2 of them 2-run shots, and 2 of them single shots.
He almost hit one out in the previous at bat. Very close. This time he gets it over the wall.
Pulled it a little bit further down the line.
There's a strike. Pujols with 3 hits tonight. and he is a triple away from the cycle.
I assumed that he had hit a major league home run before, but looking at this, he is not. That's his first major league home run.
Here's our Hardy's prime cut of the game. That's not his first.
Not his first, but his first of the night. You see that towering fly ball going into left field seats back in the first inning. 3 for 3, only lacks a triple for hitting for the cycle.
And Albert pops it up.
Going to get out of play.
If he's going to get that triple, that's one way to do it. One of those gaps out there. This would be a place to do it too. Could hit off the wall and take one of those crazy bounces. It's not symmetrical in the fact that it doesn't curve like you see some of the ballparks do with that outfield wall. Jets in and out. 2 strikes on Pujols.
Inability of these pitchers to execute location has produced a couple home runs, and there catcher setting up outside and a breaking ball up over the middle of the plate, but it was too high for Albert to swing at.
No activity right now for the Cardinals in their bullpen as Wellemeyer is sailing, and the Redbirds with 4 home runs if you're just joining us, and they lead it 6-0. Yanks it down the left field line, but foul. Well, he completely missed location there.
Absolutely. And ball was just up a little bit, as the only thing Albert could do was pull it.
The Cardinals score 6, get a 20-ounce coffee or frozen drink for 25 cents the next day.
Over on the Run's going to be busy this year.
On the run at Mobile. The 2-2. Chased it and just got a piece. But he's so good that 9 times out of 10, most guys chase that and they don't get a piece to stay alive. But he never gives away an at bat.
Mad at himself for going that far outside of the strike zone. Hope he didn't hurt something reaching that far.
Last triple was back in 2007. A 2-2 pitch to Albert Pujols. They set up a foot outside. Mislocation again. I'm wondering if something did happen to Pujols there, Al. You're right.
Yeah.
Keeps grabbing that left side.
And the shoulder. You know, looks like kind of reaching out there and seeing kind of there's
trying to stretch it out.
Yeah. Even with a 6-0 lead, he's not going to surrender, is he?
No. It's one thing that Hal McRae always said. Pete Rose never gave away an at bat, and neither does Pujols. He said those are the only 2 I've ever seen not do that. It's one of the things he has never accomplished in his career, hitting for the cycle. Again, he steps away, takes his time.
Stretching. Kendall, I think he's go ahead and get in the first row.
I don't blame him. Remember, he was hit about a week ago. 2-2 the count on Pujols. Again, they set up outside. Here it comes. And Albert.
Why do you set up outside? He hadn't hit one spot.
But that was right down the middle of the plate. He doesn't miss many of those. 9 pitches in this at bat for Pujols.
That's where he's going to go. He's going to go away. Didn't want the fastball, didn't want slide. Oh, a fastball inside. Look out.
And he got him. Tied him up with that fastball, and Pujols strikes out. First time he's been retired. Time to stretch here in Washington. 6-0 Cardinals, and let's take a look at some base running gaps for Elijah Dukes so far in the first couple of games. Last night picked off from first, and then tonight base runner at second base, and the play in front of him, easy play for the shortstop. Can't win that way.
And apparently Wednesday night in Philadelphia, he was also picked off first base. So just some of those little things you got to pay a little more attention to it.
Dukes is swing and a miss. Crowd of 20,697 tonight. Saul Rivera, by the way, is getting loose in the Nationals bullpen. Report that Jim Bowden was on a radio station today in Los Angeles and said that indeed Washington, no surprise here, will take the pitcher from San Diego State. He said that had been decided when he was here and in charge. We shall see.
I mean, it's hard for them not to, but just because it was decided when you were in charge doesn't mean
things may have changed.
Yeah, your predecessor may have an opinion about that.
How about the job of this pitching staff since Chris Carpenter has been hurt, and he tore his left oblique muscle? That was 17 days ago, and since then, coming into tonight for the rotation, it has been lights out. 145 1/3 innings, 4 home runs allowed, and the starters are 13-2 with Carpenter out.
Only 2 losses. You know, and they're 13-2 on the season. The only 2 losses are by Wellemeyer in that starting rotation. He looks like he's going to even his record at 2-2 with this performance tonight.
And I mentioned to you the other day that Chris Carpenter was doing running exercises in Atlanta, and there's a swing and a miss by Flores, where he was running side to side and then bending over, touching the ground side to side, right and left. And those are the kind of things that, you know, you worry about with his injury, but he's been doing running and trunk exercises. And he says the only pain that he has right now is when he gets in those extreme positions. And even then, he said it's tolerable at this point. So that's a best case scenario to try to get him back as quickly as they can. That's well hit into center field. Ankiel is back near the wall. It's off his glove. Stays in the ballpark. And he'll fire it into third. He almost came up with a tremendous play in center field.
Second consecutive night, a triple with Flores, and hope Rick didn't crash into that wall a little harder than he would like. Kind of got the head down. He's been kind of tolerating the flu bug and battled his way through it. Pitch down the middle. You can see the power that Flores has. He thinks he's got a home run, and he just misses one by inches in the webbing, but he can't hold on to it when he collides with the fence. And Flores kind of coasting to second, turned on the burners, and this is his second triple and his third of the year.
And again,
excuse me, second of the year.
How about the throw from Ricky Ankiel when he just gets it and lets it fly? So a triple for Jesus Flores. You could see there how deep Ankiel was playing. Willie Harris is hit into a double play and lined out. And that's a foul ball. Take a look at the throw here from Ricky Ankiel after nearly coming up with a dandy of a catch.
Standing right at the base of the wall. Got it all the way to the cutoff man.
1 ball, 1 strike. Wellemeyer trying to keep the shutout alive here. 6-0 St. Louis with 1 out in the 7th. Good pitch. Changeup really took something off it. That pitch has gotten better as the night has gone on.
I mean, it's just, you know, with the mechanics, all of a sudden you get kind of wear down a little bit, and you stay on top of those pitches. You reach out and finish it off.
Inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. No activity yet in the Cardinal bullpen, as the pitch count has reached 100 now for Todd Wellemeyer. Three and 2.
Todd went 7 innings in his other start on the road and only allowed 1 run. There you see Carpenter back there watching. And that's a tough decision. When he does come back, who's the odd man out?
That's right.
That's the way you like to see it.
Here's a 3-2. High fly ball into deep right field. Ludwig is back. He'll look up, and it's gone. Just over the wall. Willie Harris, his first home run, a 2-run homer to make it 6-2.
His first 2 RBIs of the season.
Now they start to loosen quickly in the bullpen for the Cardinals. Right-hander is up and throwing.
Belt high in the middle of the plate, and he put a charge into it. High wall out in right field, and he hits it over it.
So 1 out, base is empty. Still a ways to go in this game as Mott quickly getting loose. The Cardinals bullpen last night, 3 hitless innings as Chris Perez picked up the win.
I would love to see Wellemeyer get to the 7th inning. Let's keep it a 6-2 game. Finish the 7th inning, then turn it over for the final 6 outs to the bullpen.
And you have the 8th and 9th place hitters here. That'll help. A fly ball into center. Ricky Ankiel is there with 2 hands and puts it away. 3 times now Anderson Hernandez has put the ball in the air.
No power.
Speed, you should put it on the ground.
Well, that's it. You're doing no power, so that's what Wellemeyer wants to do, especially if you can get him to hit the deep part of the field. You know you got an out.
Alex Cintron will be the hitter. Still haven't seen Josh Willingham in this series, nor Ronnie Belliard.
Willingham was at the on-deck circle if Hernandez would have reached base.
The switch hitter on deck in Christian Guzman, and you think about the lefties and the job that the Cardinals have gotten out of Dennis Reyes and also Trevor Miller against left-handed batters. Those 2 have really done the job. Reyes 1 hit facing 13 of those lefties, and Trevor Miller only 2 hits against left-handed pitching. Reyes has not walked a left-handed batter. He struck out 2. Miller 1 walk and 8 strikeouts. We saw one last night of Dunn. Change up again. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Alex Cintron. Pulled foul.
Gone off to a slow start this year, looking for his first hit.
Got him with another changeup as he chased, and that's the third strikeout for Todd Wellemeyer this evening. Chris Duncan has gone deep for the Cardinals. His home run, a 2-run shot back in the fourth. He's due up first when we come back. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by McDonald's. Order a Big Mac extra value meal at McDonald's during Cardinals Ticket Fest and get huge discounts on great seats. And by AT&T, switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Beautiful night here in Washington, our nation's capital. The Cardinals and the Nationals, and St. Louis leading 6-2. Eighth inning rolls in, and Duncan drives it down the right field line. It's hooking, and that's a fair ball off the wall.
Bounced over the wall.
That took an odd hop.
Odd hop, yeah. Must have bounced down and hit on a concrete something right down below, and then bounced over the wall. Never seen that before. So our bench,
double.
I don't know if we could see this thing. To have a good night. He lacks a triple from the cycle, just like Albert. You bounce up like that, and on top of bounce over.
This is a new pitcher, by the way, a right-hander, Saul Rivera.
He's been here. He just was recalled from AAA on 21st of April, but last 3 years he's been here and been pretty successful.
Here is Ludwig, and he takes a ball down low.
And Dan, the Cardinals have hit 4 home runs in this game, right?
Yes, sir.
Cardinal pitcher starting staff.
A chopper, and Duncan stays put.
On the season, the Cardinals starters now with a 1 home run, the first allowed by Wellemeyer, have given up a total of only 5 for the season.
That's how you win. Keep the ball in the ballpark. You don't walk anybody. Try to get deep into games to save your bullpen if you can. Rick Ankiel, the hitter for the Cardinals, with a runner at second base. Good rip. 120 games last year for Rick. He had 264 and hit 25 home runs. A season that was cut short because of a sports hernia injury on July 26th that happened at Shea Stadium. And he was really in a good stretch right there. Little chopper. Rivera has it. 2 outs following the double by Duncan. Pujols and Duncan both a triple away from the cycle. And in steps Yadier Molina. Cardinals last April were 18-11. And they went from 11th in the National League in runs 2 years ago to 4th, and this year they're one of the best teams offensively. We saw that shot of Carpenter, and what will be interesting is when he gets back and when he has a bat in his hands, how they approach him.
Remember
swinging.
Woody Williams?
Exactly right, and that's my point. Just guiding the bat just to put it in play or bunting.
Giving the orders, don't swing, stand up there. I'm sure that'll be the same, at least for the first start.
I'd prefer just all year.
If it has to be, it has to be.
Yeah. And Woody was such a good athlete that he could guide the bat and pick up a base hit to right. A lot of times he would just choke up on the bat, just put it in play. And I'm sure that's what we'll see with Chris Carpenter once he comes back.
When he injured it, I don't remember him taking a vicious cut or anything.
At that point, you're thinking, oh man, what's going to happen now with this season? That was only 17 days ago. Molina swing and a miss. 2-1. Mott has been getting loose in the pen for the Cardinals. And the top of the lineup is coming up for Washington in their half of the 8th.
Rivera has been a pretty reliable middle reliever the last 3 years for Washington.
And a strikeout of Molina. It was 2-2. Mott coming in when we come back. Jason Mott will pitch this 8th inning for Dave Duncan. He's trying to figure out some of the roles out there, like the setup role.
I think we still have that setup role to kind of establish, but we have some legitimate candidates that should emerge there. And Mott's making progress. Perez is really making progress, not only in what they're doing on the mound, but just their confidence. They're having some success, so that breeds confidence.
That Chris Perez last night picked up the win. The bullpen 3 hitless innings in game 1 of this series. And slowly but surely, these young pitchers are getting better and better. And this is our Chevy call to the bullpen. It's Jason Mott, the former catcher.
The key to me was Dave Duncan talking about how they're having success in gaining confidence. They're still so young that they need to pitch in the 7th and 8th inning. Have confidence, have success, and then that'll get them in line. There's 9th inning is something that is down the road, and Ryan Franklin is establishing that real nicely.
It's off the end of the bat, but playing in third baseman for the Cardinals to make the play, and that's Brian Barton.
Yeah, got our defensive team. Barton playing third base. Thurston moves to second base, and Schumacher out in left field.
By the way, a big day for the American Parkinson Disease Association. Monday, May 18th at Lake Forest Country Club. Cardinals general manager John Mozeliak will serve as the honorary chair for that 11th annual event. And all the proceeds used go to patient services in the metro area. The number to call, 314-362-3299. And that's the Parkinson Disease Center office at 314-362-3299. And John Mozeliak will be the honorary chair, and he'll speak at that event as well. And that is Monday, May 18th. Numbers for Jason Mott. A 1-0 pitch to Johnson. Into shallow left. Schumacher is there, and it's going to drop. He thought he was going to be called off, and he stopped on it as he saw green going out. That ball's got to be caught.
Has to be caught, and the shortstop has to go after that ball until he's called off by an outfielder. I believe it's Schumacher's ball, but if you don't hear that, the shortstop calling you off, or the left fielder calling you off, the shortstop has to get it. And Schu thought his shortstop was going to be there, and then at the last second, he tries to go get it. But that is a base hit, a double that should not have happened.
Remember, it was last Friday that Schumacher had that drop against the Chicago Cubs at home after he moved from second base to left field. Now it's trouble with Zimmerman coming in. There's that fastball at 95. Now, he wasn't throwing that hard at the beginning of the season. You saw a mislocation, but when you throw 95 or above, at times, Al, as you well know, you can get away with it.
Early in the season, in cold weather, that fastball is going to be a little slow in coming. And now, he's gotten things going. He's had enough appearances where the velocity is starting to reemerge.
Right there at 96, and Zimmerman couldn't pull the trigger. I mean, how tough is that pitch there? On the black in the outside corner at 96 miles an hour. Hanrahan getting loose in the Nationals pen. 0-2 the count on Zimmerman. That time the slider. Sometimes his slider will move, and other times it just spins. Work in progress.
A work in progress, but I think he's made significant progress in such a quick time period.
That's ripped off the glove of Green. into shallow left. And they'll hold up the runner, Nick Johnson, at third. So first and third now with one out. The ball will find you. He's in his second major league game. He was involved in that pop-up that dropped, and now this rocket.
Rocket right there. He does a nice job. Got slowed it down.
And it brings in Adam Dunn. He could make this interesting.
Thought would be a relatively uneventful 8th inning. Hopefully you could maintain the 4-run lead going into the 9th and use it somebody else or let Mott finish it. Now it's getting a little scary.
First pitch is outside to Dunn.
Remember Dunn, you can throw fastballs by him. But in many cases you would love to have a real good off-speed pitcher up there.
And with the runners at first and third, you can't have that shift on for Dunn. Ooh. Dunn with 27 home runs in his career against the Cardinals. Only 2 other teams has he hit more against. Milwaukee and Chicago.
A few years back, I mean, it seemed like he had a zillion chances and a couple years without a sacrifice fly. Finally got a couple.
Good pitch. 96. Remember when he got it to? He tipped his cap to the fans and he was on the road.
Like I said, you can throw fastballs by him in the right location. You'd love to have that change up or something to neutralize him. But they've got to pretty much go with the fastballs.
1-2 pitch.
Keep it down and away or way up and in.
I mean, Dunn could hit one 500 feet against Mott with his swing and power, with Mott on the other side generating his power.
Yeah, you don't have to overswing, just make contact. The pitch in.
Got him.
Right down the middle, but threw it right by him.
Dunn strikes out for the second time. Big out there. It brings in Elijah Dukes.
Set up inside, but he got a little run on that one and threw it right by the big man.
As we saw with the Pittsburgh Pirates against Mott that opening week, that opening series, all the players talked about was that when Mott comes in, you've got to get that swing started a little bit earlier.
It'd be a little different because at that time he was throwing only about 92. 3 or 4 miles an hour makes a big difference.
Opposing teams that get their first look at Mott, the fans, I think they get a kick out of him. He's got the glasses. He's just so hyper out there, and he's throwing mid-90s.
Having fun out there. His mound presence is very good. It's in attack mode.
96.
Well, what did it there is he got a first pitch slider over, and then Duke's going, wait a minute, he wasn't supposed to be able to throw a strike with that. Now I'll look for the slider, and he throws the fastball right by him. The bat's still on his shoulder.
In games like this, they'll have to be confidence builders if he gets out of it. There's the slider, just missed. You're pitching around what you should be out of the inning right now.
Can't think that way. You got to sit there and tell Schumacher and Tyler Green that I'm good enough to pitch around the mistake. They feel terrible what happened, and they're right now rooting for Mott more than ever.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Dukes. Dukes tonight was robbed by Ricky Ankiel with a diving catch in center. He doubled back in the 4th and flied out to center.
2-2 pitch here. Missed with a couple off-speed pitches.
Dukes has hit 3 home runs. In the air to center. This should do it.
Glad to see him went back with a slider again.
Ankiel is there. Sends us to the 9th. Glad you're with us, and let's take a look at the Budweiser Great Player of the Game. Budweiser, the great American lager. Quite a start from Todd Wellemeyer, our Player of the Game, presented by Budweiser. 7 innings, 6 hits, couple of runs, both were earned. He walked 2 and struck out 3. Joel Hanrahan is the new pitcher for the Washington Nationals. Removed as their closer last week after he gave up a grand slam against the Phillies. Raul Ibanez late in a game, and he'll take over and pitch this 9th inning as the Cardinals lead it 6-2. And here's Tyler Green.
And he'll reclaim that closer role within a very short period of time.
Now, after watching what we saw last Friday and again tonight with Schumacher out and left, I mean, is it, you know, a situation where you're concentrating so much on second base that it's become secondary to a point left, and all of a sudden some of those things aren't coming as quickly as maybe they should?
It's surprising, but I think you're right. And you know, Skip is a guy we really like, and you know, you get back and you need to take charge again.
Because clearly that should have been his ball.
Yes. And by the same token, though, but Green's got to go back until he's called off.
Exactly.
Interesting to me that Blaine Boyer is thrown in the Cardinal bullpen, rewarded for how well he pitched last night.
And maybe, you know, not just trying to figure out what's going on physically, but in his mind, he says, okay, I have a good outing last night. Look at what Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa may do with me here tonight.
And I will talk more about it when he comes in for the 9th inning. As I had a little talk with Blaine, and he's excited about what Marty Mason has gotten him doing, and believes in what they're saying. And last night was an example of being rewarded for his work of making it happen.
Brian Barton could be the Rookie of the Month in the National League. Did he get a piece? Yes, he did. Joe Thurston will have a shot at that as well.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the position players that were rookies, and they don't distinguish between the pitcher and player. And the two Cardinal youngsters are right there neck and neck. Go to either one of them.
Want to elevate again, and it's popped foul.
Let's just say we'll make it a tie.
We'll split the vote. You and I will split it up here.
Split the vote because they're both deserving. And nobody else.
Nobody else is right. 0-2 pitch. Chased it, and a strikeout of Barton. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser, who thanks you for being a designated driver. By your St. Louis area Hyundai dealers. Always a home run with America's best warranty, and now Hyundai Assurance. And by Bank of America, Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. 2 hitters, 2 strikeouts for Hanrahan.
Looks like he wants the closer role back, doesn't he?
Sure does.
And he struck out more than an inning last year. 84 innings, 93 strikeouts, had 9 saves. Didn't have a lot of opportunities, but
Schumacher with a ground ball to first. A flip to Hanrahan sends us to the bottom half of the 9th. Flores, Harris, Hernandez 2 up.
Back in the nation's capital, Cardinals with a 4-run lead going to the bottom of the 9th. Coming up immediately after the game, of course, it's U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. Jim Hayes and Jack Clark, and they're digging the long ball. They'll talk about the 4 homers hit by the Cardinals tonight. Welcome back Welly in the performance by the Cardinals starter, as well as the Hungo Award. It is Friday night after all, Dan and Al. Look forward to that right after the game.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Here is Blaine Boyer. Remember warming up last night, Jim Reynolds, the home plate umpire. This is a cutter that did not cut. Doink. But Jim Reynolds, to his credit, stayed in the game.
Stayed in the game. He kind of ducked, and so it hit him on top of the head. Blaine kind of thought the ball took off, and obviously LaRue didn't get a glove on it. He's not working this game tonight, Jim Reynolds. His replacement is Kevin Cosney.
So what did you see with Blaine Boyer, and talk a little bit about what Marty Mason has been working with Blaine Boyer?
Well, he came in with a windup that was so out of whack that his arm never caught up to him. And it's even thrown out of a stretch right here, is they've got him working and throwing a 2-seam fastball for the first time. Now they've got him simplifying the mechanics a little bit and to where he's reaching out and finishing off his pitches. And now his breaking ball and the fastball, you know, get into a position where he can throw strikes and keep the ball down.
And for people that don't know the difference between a two-seamer and a four-seamer.
Two-seamer is your sinker. The four-seam fastball is your righting fastball. And you have to throw extremely hard to get movement on it, but it's a pitch that most of the time will be a little more elevated.
And that's a strike to Jesus Flores. Triple and a run scored back in the 7th. Came around on the home run by Willie Harris. 6-2 Cardinals.
It was good to see that, you know, and Dave Duncan told him it's Marty Mason that's done the good job working with Blaine down there in the bullpen. But Dave was saying how impressive the outing was yesterday. He reinforced that by giving him the 9th inning here tonight. You save Franklin for tomorrow afternoon. But Marty's got him throwing a sinker. He said, I've never done that, but I really like the results. And there's another example of it.
Comes back after 3-0 to get him and strikes him out for the first out here in this 9th inning. Well, tonight 3 and 4 hitters for the Cardinals, and that means Albert Pujols and Chris Duncan 6 for 8, 2 home runs, 4 runs scored. The Nationals 2 for 7. They also hit into a double play. Pujols hit his home run back in the first inning, his 9th of the season and his 29th RBI. Chris Duncan a 2-run homer following Pujols' double in the 4th. Cardinals have hit 4 on the night. Ludwig hit a 2-run shot. That was in the 6th. And then Joe Thurston with his first. And that was in the 7th, a solo home run over the wall and right. Willie Harris is homered here. 2-run shot in the 7th. There's the breaking ball. They really like his curveball, by the way, Blaine Boyers.
Because his mechanics were so messed up, he couldn't get on top of it, and it was just kind of spinning. But they noted in the past that he had a good power fastball and he had a good breaking ball. There's a cutter right there, and all it has to do is just move it.
That was nasty.
About an inch. I mean, it looks like a fastball, but it just drops ever so slightly. You're trying to hit a round ball with a round bat, and if you don't center it, you know, you're not going to hit the ball well, even if you make contact. There's the good curveball.
The ground ball hit to second. There's 2 outs.
Amazing what a change of scenery or a new perspective, what it'll do for you. One, you kind of look in the mirror. 2, you go to a place that says, hey, we've got a need for you, and everything can kind of fall into place for it.
Well, the bullpen so far has been terrific in this series. The 3 hitless innings last night as Perez would get the win. And this could be 2 scoreless innings here in this ball game from Mott and Boyer. Mott 1 inning, 2 hits, struck out 1, no runs allowed. Hernandez strike 2. So the Cardinals 1 strike away, Al, from going to 10 games above 500.
Well, right now you have to take advantage of this opportunity. Playing a team like the Nationals, they're struggling, and you have to win. 3 out of 4 is tolerable. 4 out of 4 is much better.
And a ground ball hit to short. Green is there. Cardinals win it. 10 games above 500. 6-2 the final. Boyer a scoreless ninth. 1, 2, 3. Pujols another big night. The triple away from the cycle. Post-game show is coming up.
The Cardinals win in Washington again. They move to 10 games over 500. Jack Clark and I are here to break this one down. Jack, the Cardinals play a little long ball tonight.
Top to bottom, the guys were slugging, swinging the bat. The long ball's back, and it's a good sign.
More from Jack Clark coming up. Plus, Todd Wellemeyer looking to bounce back after a couple of rough starts. Could he contain the Nats and keep the Cards rolling? Plus, we'll take you inside the Cardinals clubhouse in D.C. for player reaction and Tony La Russa's post-game thoughts. And it's Friday night, which means we're handing out the Hungo Award, plus a look back at the great month of April. It's Friday night, and the mood is right. Don't go anywhere. U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live is coming up next.
Welcome to U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live.
The Cardinals play long ball in D.C. Pujols, Duncan, Ludwig, and Thurston, all with home runs as the Cardinals knock off the Nats. Final 6-2. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside our Fox Sports Midwest studios in St. Louis for the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live alongside former Cardinal slugger Jack Clark. I'm Jim Hayes. Coming up, could Todd Wellemeyer get right back on track tonight? We'll break down the Tadalian start. Plus, we'll go inside the Cardinals clubhouse for player reaction and Tony La Russa's thoughts. And we'll look back on April with our plays of the month. And it's Friday night, which can mean only one thing. We're handing out the Hungo Award. Jack, obviously a big win for the Cardinals right now. 10 games over 500 and a lot of power tonight.
Well, 10 games over 500, and they got there very easy, it seems like. It doesn't even seem like the competition has showed up. They seem to be winning games in all kinds of different ways and letting the other teams go ahead and lose games. And they're taking no prisoners tonight. They had the long ball from all the right people. Joe Thurston, congratulations to him and for his first Major League home run. But the big boys came out, and none of those were cheap ones, Jim. Those were some long taters right there tonight.
No question about it. And remember, Cardinal fans, you can get involved in the program with U.S. Cellular Text Time. Jack and I will take your questions or comments about the Cardinals. Send us a text message. I'll take it right here on my phone. Text us at 432-432. Please include your first name and where you're texting from in your message. Remember, standard text messaging rates do apply. Well, we head back to D.C. right now to put a wrap on things. It's a view from the booth with the guys who just called the game, Dan McLaughlin and Al Raboski. And, gentlemen, how about Todd Wellemeyer tonight? He was outstanding.
He was great. Jack Clark knows a thing or two about those home runs, and those weren't cheap at all. And Todd Wellemeyer, for the most part, Al, kept the ball in the ballpark and looked great. He's been terrific here on the road.
Well, he allowed his first home run of the season, but he was pitching effectively. Dave Duncan was really excited about after they worked in the bullpen. You can see he's got the road problems all solved. 2-0. And evened his record at 2-2 and an ERA under 2. But he's pitching well, and I think this is going to translate to some home victories also.
Jim and Jack, we've got the Hungo Award coming up a little later in the show. Let's send it back to you.
All right, gentlemen, thanks a lot. Let's check out the highlights from this one, a game you saw on Fox Sports Midwest. First, a flashback. Last night, top one, Albert Pujols goes deep to put the Cardinals up early. Tonight, different pitcher. That was Cabrera. But the same result. This time it's Jordan Zimmerman, 3-1 fastball. Bye-bye. His Major League leading 9th home run, 29th ribby of the year. No doubt about that one. Jack said it right. Top four, Chris Duncan up now. And Dunk is going to rip a long one. Looky, looky. Here comes Cookie. His 3rd home run of the year put the Cardinals up 3-0. We move ahead to the 6th. Pujols on. How about Ryan Ludwig? And he dips his ladle into the home run punch bowl. That's another 4-bagger, his 7th. Cardinals are up 5-0. All 5 runs coming via the long ball. 7th, power surge continues. How about Joe Thurston going yard? His first career home run, and it puts the Cardinals up 6-0. Those 6 more than enough for Todd Wellemeyer. The Tadalian outstanding tonight. Watch as he'll get Ryan Zimmerman to ground into a double play in the early going. Then he'll get Willie Harris to ground into the 4-6-3 double play to get out of the 4th. Wellemeyer, 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs. Nice performance. And the Cardinals win this one by the final of 6-2. So Todd Wellemeyer does get back on track, evens his record at 2 up and 2 down. Zimmerman, the loss for the Nationals. Pujols with another home run. The 2nd straight night, 3 for 4, 9 home runs on the season. Ryan Ludwig apparently over that flu bug he was battling. He goes deep tonight. Chris Duncan was outstanding as well. In fact, we go back to the nation's capital. Pat Paris catching up with Chris Duncan, our Mid-America Chevrolet dealers player of the game. Pat?
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Big night offensively for you. You've had a very good road trip as well. Most importantly, though, you guys go to 4-1 on this road trip.
Yeah, we played really good tonight. I think Todd did a really good job pitching, and everyone took good at-bats off a tough pitcher, and we ended up pulling ahead, and we just got to keep it going.
What was your approach tonight against a very young but very talented pitcher tonight? You guys were able to hit a few long balls off him.
I knew he had a good fastball, so I was just trying to be aggressive on his fastball and try to put together a short swing on his fastball.
What's been the difference for you this year besides being healthy? I mean, that's got to be the number one thing, but what are you doing now psychologically at the plate? You seem like you're really locked in right now.
I think, you know, getting healthy and then seeing some results, I've got a lot of confidence back that maybe was gone last year after going through some stuff. I think I lost a lot of my confidence, and I think after spring training I started getting my confidence back and just believing in myself, and I think it's working out good.
Well, it's certainly paying off. Continued success, Chris. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, that is Chris Duncan homering tonight and doing a nice job hitting right after Albert Pujols, and that certainly is key. Jim, Jack, back to you in St. Louis.
Thanks, Pat. And before we break down the Cardinals' power surge, and a little bit about Chris Duncan, you said it looked to you like he's shortened his swing a little bit. Obviously, he's a big guy, he's going to hit home runs, but we're seeing the average is staying up too.
Well, and he mentioned that right now, talking to Pat also about just a short swing. And, you know, he's a big man, and he does not have to go ahead and try to lift the ball to hit the ball of the ballpark. And as a result, he's having more fun. He's hitting for more average. He's going to hit more home runs that way, drive in more runs, slug, be more involved in the game, score more runs. So, you know, that's a great sign because now you got him locked in, you got all the other guys, and it really is no room for the other pitcher. There's no place for him to go.
Maybe I'm crazy. I think when Chris Duncan's healthy, he's going to hit regardless of where his swing is at.
It's good to see him
4
healthy.
Cardinal home runs tonight. That's a season high. Where else would it start but with Albert Pujols? Career home run number 328. That means he's 12 behind someone named Jack Clark, according to my notes.
He might catch me by the end of the week, you know. So he's in a new month now, and so here we go again, and that's great to see. Duncan again, there's that short swing. You know, that ball stays nice and straight. There's no hook on it. Stays fair, and had plenty of distance to get out of any ballpark. And that's just all wrist. Here's Ludwig. That's the deepest part of the ballpark. He didn't try to lift that ball, and that ball's out of there easy. So, you know, you're talking about some professional hitters here, taking some good swings and just trusting their hands. And here's Joe Thurston, that when he does this, he has this kind of power, and that's good to see. Congratulations to Joe, his first home run. That's not going to be his last. He's got some more coming, too.
Let's talk a little bit about Albert Pujols. As the Cardinals went out on this trip, people were starting to crunch the numbers a little bit, and they were like, well, Albert's not hitting on the road. What do we do? There's the flaw in his game. He can't hit on the road. The first 33 at-bats on the road, Albert went 6 for 33. Since then, how about 7 for 10 with 2 home runs? I guess Albert can hit on the road, too.
Well, he hit last night, had a home run, had a big home run tonight. That was on a 3-1 pitch, and then you saw an at-bat later, also like a 9-pitch at-bat where he ended up striking out. But he drove that ball to right center field. The center fielder came over, tried to cut it off, but he hit it too hard. He hit it like a left-hander drove it out there. And I think that's the one he actually, if he wanted to, he probably could have taken a chance to get a triple right there and been a little closer to that cycle. So he's unbelievable. He's the best hitter, best player in baseball, and we get the privilege of talking about him and watching him every night. And I know we think that, well, it gets old, we talk about him all the time, but you have to. He's great. He's fantastic. He's the best. So he's the best you talk about. He's rubbing off on everybody else. He's just fun to watch, even for a guy like me who used to slug. He's, you know, very, very dangerous.
And it doesn't matter if the Cardinals are home or on the road. So far on the road this season, the Cardinals 7-4 with 3 straight road victories. So it's all coming together to this point for the Cardinals. A big reason why they got the W tonight. The Tadalian, Todd Wellemeyer, was outstanding tonight. We will break down Wellemeyer's performance when we come back with more of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live.
U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live is brought to you by U.S. Cellular. Believe in something better. And by Helitech. If your basement or crawl space leaks when it rains, heal your home with Helitech.
Today's Cardinals milestone, this date in 1987, Jack Clark wins a game for the Cardinals in the 10th, and a game tied at 4 in the bottom of the 10th. The man sitting to my left, legs out a double to start off a Cardinal rally. Take another look at the speed and the great slide by the Ripper. 2 batters later, catcher Steve Lake would step up to the plate.
And it's going to be another breaking ball.
Foul ball, base hit, left field. Clark rounding third, heading home. Guerrero drops the ball, and the Cardinals will win it 5-4.
Blake with the walk-off single that brings a speedy Jack Clark home to give the Cardinals a 5-4 win over the Dodgers. I remember that. They started calling you Legs Clark after that, didn't they?
That was fun to watch. I've never seen that, but that was a pretty good slide. I like that. Enjoyed watching that.
Let's talk a little bit about the current Cardinals. And Todd Wellemeyer was a guy who was scuffling this year, came into tonight with an ERA of over 6. The good news is that Todd Wellemeyer's ERA actually much better on the road than it is at home. As we see, Todd Wellemeyer, kind of a different guy on the road. Look at what opponents are hitting against him on the road compared to at home. And the ERA, very high at home, 8.40, and on the road, 1.93. How do you figure that, Jack?
Well, that's going to come down. That's not going to stay up there for the whole season. This was a great outing for him to get out there. It looked like he just relaxed. You know, he's a quiet guy, doesn't say too much, get too emotional, you know, when things are going good or getting bad. But I think he's been pressing a little bit and trying a little bit too hard. You know, everybody else is winning games, and he's the one starter that's struggled a little bit and been fighting.
He's back in the group now.
He's back in the race now.
He is our heel attack king of the hill. The guy is half man, half lion, and he was half amazing tonight, Jack.
The Medallion was really good tonight. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, he makes his pitches, and everybody knows now on this team that you don't have to do anything more but to pitch to contact. Trust your defense. I mean, you got some speed, you got some guys in the outfield. The defense catches the ball, gets the outs, makes the plays. Guys are playing in different positions and doing the job. So there's nothing for these pitchers to worry about except just go out there and have fun. And he looked like tonight he was having fun for a change instead of feeling like he had to try to do more than he can. And that was the Todd Wellemeyer that we saw last year.
There he is, half man, half beast, and very good tonight. 109 pitches for Wellemeyer, the 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs. And talking to Dave Duncan about Todd Wellemeyer, he said this. Dave Duncan said he's happy with Wellemeyer's stuff. He said Wellemeyer's been in a situation this year where early in the game, a couple of bloops, a little flare, a dink, a dunk, and all of a sudden Wellemeyer was behind the 8 ball and didn't react all that well. The stuff was fine. What Wellemeyer needed was to get out of the blocks quickly, a clean effort, and he got that tonight.
Well, he got that tonight. The team got him some runs early. That always feels good. But I think you're right, Jim, that he's been getting dinked and dunked a little bit too much, so he's trying to make the perfect pitch, and he's missing some of his spots. But tonight he just went, there's nothing you can really do about it. When you're breaking and jamming guys and bats are splintering and flying everywhere, you're making your pitches. So he's been doing it. He doesn't have to be that fine. He's got great stuff. He's got a live arm, a live fastball. And he showed tonight. He changed speeds, moved the ball around. He's going to be successful, and he's going to win. He's going to bring that ERA down at home, and he's going to be successful here, too. He's going to have a good year.
Speaking of live fastball, Jason Mott was good tonight.
That's
and he also
live.
showed a lot of breaking stuff as well. I mean, he showed the whole package tonight.
I think all these guys are getting more comfortable now. They all seem to be going out there now and getting a little bit more, they're getting seasoned a little bit more. Tony and Dave are using those guys in the right situations to get them some work in against all these different guys that they haven't faced before. All these ballparks are new to them. They haven't been around that long, so they're just getting comfortable. But being around the guys that are over the Franklins, and they got Chris Carpenter sitting over to talk to, Wainwright, Wellemeyer, it's a good situation for them to be in and grow up in the major leagues with.
What I like about Mott, he had to pitch around the miscue in the outfield, runners at the corners, and Mott got out of it. Tony La Russa has to be very happy with tonight's effort. We'll hear from the skipper when we come back from break. You're watching U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live, the post-game edition.
U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live is brought to you by Country Financial. What's your idea of financial security? And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Powerful, lightweight, dependable, versatile. Yard care solutions start at steeldealers.com.
Cardinals win again. Let's head back to Washington, D.C., go inside the Cardinals clubhouse where Tony La Russa met with the media a short time ago. It's brought to you by the Laborers Employers Cooperation and Education Trust.
No, I think he just got in an early groove, and he just concentrated great. I think lately, I mean, he's had periods, especially early, when wasn't quite right and had to compete hard to just stay in the game. But I think he felt good early, and he'll explain better than I will.
Tony, what did you see on the Zimmerman on their side? He gave up the home runs. But
that is a real good-looking. I don't even say young pitcher because he happens to be young. But he's a good-looking pitcher. Very good, very impressive. I mean, right now we got a little something going. He made a couple mistakes in the balls to the park. That usually get away with some of those, but very impressive.
3 through 5 do a good bit of damage for you tonight. Anything? I mean, Ludd hadn't been playing, and you see Dunk and Albert both go single, double home run. I mean, it's
against the quality of pitching we had. That was special. And this young man got a real chance.
Tony, besides the obvious about Chris being healthy, Chris Duncan being healthy, what is he doing so well right now? He seems to be really locked in.
Well, what he's done his whole career when he's healthy. He's a tough out at the plate. He handles different type pitches. Got a real good strike zone for a young hitter. So, I mean, he's legit as long as he's healthy, and now we just need to keep him healthy.
Tony, you said he got into Walmart got into a groove early. How important were those home runs early to help him get into the groove?
Well, I mean, it was 1-0 through, and 3-0. I mean, Zimmerman wasn't giving up much, so I mean, he still had to pitch. It was important because he put zeros on the board.
Tony La Russa talking to the media. Text time. Oh, it's right here. I thought we were going to pretend like I was getting this right from the phone. The text is from Trevor in Alton. When Pujols bats, does he see the ball in slow motion? Wait, I'm reading it off here, Jack. Does he see the ball in slow motion? I'm going to ask you to be a mind reader.
Well, the way he's hitting right now, I think he goes up there and he's actually so much better than everybody else he's facing. That kid tonight, Zimmerman, is a quality pitcher and going to be outstanding for a long time. But Albert is just at a different level right now. And guess what, everybody? The word's out. Albert Pujols is getting better. As great as he's been in the MVP, he's even getting better. He keeps learning, studying, and applying it pitch to pitch. He had a 9-pitch at bat tonight, ended up striking out, but his at bats, everything they're throwing the kitchen sink up there, and he's right on everything. So that timing, that tempo, yes, it looks like it's just sitting on a tee for him.
It looks like the ball is slow. I mean, he's sick. He's hitting 356 with more RBIs and home runs. I mean, let's say it. He's sick.
Well, that ball right there, they hit the short. He just hit it so hard the guy couldn't even react. Hit that ball up the right center field like a left-hander. He tried to cut it off. He could not even cut the ball off. Ended up going to the wall. So, I mean, he is locked in. Hit that ball down the left field line. It stayed straight, didn't hook. He's staying inside it. That bat is working.
Plenty of production from the 3 and 4 hitters for the Cardinals tonight. That would be Albert Pujols and Chris Duncan. And a combined 6 for 8. That's not too shabby. 4 runs, 2 RBIs, and a couple of home runs. Chris Duncan has been playing well of late himself. 3 hits tonight, had the home run. Guy's got power, and look, he goes the other way. He's becoming a more complete hitter.
Well, he's got plate coverage now. He's not in and out of that strike zone the way he used to. And he said he went and worked with McGuire this winter, and that is a short stroke. And McGuire, at the end of his career there, learned that short stroke, and he applied it. And he became a much more, even as dangerous a hitter as he was even more dangerous. So he is doing the same type of things and applying, the mental part as well as the physical part. And he's a tough out. Like Tony said, as long as he's healthy, you can look for big things from Chris Duncan also, as well as everybody else in there. And the health is a big issue, but when guys are healthy and having fun, and it just hasn't even warmed up yet, when it warms up, that ball's going to be flying, and you're going to see big bunches of home runs from all the guys all the way up and down through that lineup.
Safe to say at this point of the season, I would say the #1 trait of this Cardinals team is anyone who gets an opportunity makes the most of that opportunity. Perhaps #1 on the list, or at least near the top of the list, Joe Thurston. Joe Thurston with a little power tonight. His first home run of his big league career. He's played well. Brian Barden's played well. We're going to look more at Thurston tonight in a little bit. This is U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live.
U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live has been brought to you by U.S. Cellular. Believe in something better.
Here's our play of the day, 7th inning. Not Joe Thurston. How about Jolton Joe Thurston? His first big league homer solo shot. I'm told the 694th player in Cardinals history to hit a home run, one of 4 Cardinal home runs in the game. Still to come on the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live, we'll have post-game reaction from Todd Wellemeyer and Ryan Ludwig. But first, it's Friday night, and that means only one thing here at Fox Sports Midwest. No, not Shabbos dinner over at my house. It means we're handing out a Hungo Award. Dan McLaughlin and Al Roboski rejoin us now from the nation's capital for the big announcement.
Well, thank you. It is a Friday night, so that means it is time for the Hungo Award. A lot of times you look at a pitcher, you're thinking, boy, what a great outing. You got to give it to him because he's been terrific on the mound. Not so tonight. Wellemeyer good on the mound, but also at the plate, Al.
Well, I'm more impressed with his pitching on the mound, but he did pick up a base hit, and that's not why we're giving him the Hungo Award. We're giving him the fact that he was the guy that had to get going. He had to get going, and he did so. I mean, all the starters. Now the Cardinals leave the major league with 14 wins. They're 14-2. Those 2 losses were both Wellemeyer's, but now we've got him back on track, and he's going to mean so much to this ball club. He's our Hungo Award winner, brought to you by the Kerberg Company.
All right, so 17 wins so far as a team for the Cardinals, and we'll see you here tomorrow afternoon.
Talk about embarrassment of riches for Todd Wellemeyer. Not only does he get the win tonight, not only does he pick up a Hungo, but he also got to talk to the media that surrounded his locker after the game back in D.C.
Well, I worked on a lot of stuff with Dunk this past few days, and got a lot of my momentum going towards home instead of towards third, and felt a lot better. All my pitches felt better, had better control and command.
Albert puts you up 1-0 and Duncan, and then before you know it, you got a 3-0 lead. I mean, it's 4th inning, but still, you know, the biggest thing probably, you know, you're going out and putting up zeros too at the same time.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, anytime you can pitch with a lead and keep throwing up zeros is what you want.
Got to be a time where you want to see this consistently happen, and I don't want you to jump ahead already. You got to at least be happy about this one tonight. But do you think you found something now that you're going to be able to continue start after start?
Yeah. I want to take it back to Busch Stadium. I've been fine on the road so far, but no, I feel good with my delivery now, and just continue what I'm doing.
Is that something that you actually do think about, or you just go joking around about the road versus home thing?
No, I definitely know about it. I'm just going to keep this positiveness going towards Busch. I'll bring it to St. Louis.
Some starting pitchers on the day of a start are real tight. You're not even supposed to make eye contact. They don't speak to anyone. Wellemeyer is not tight at all, despite the fact that going into the game he had an ERA of over 6. He texted me that he liked something we did on the post-game show the other night. We created these mutations. We thought it was funny. Probably didn't work, but we made Todd Wellemeyer half man, half lion. Well, Wellemeyer saw this, and on the day of a start, when he's not pitching all that well, he takes the time to text and say, that was well done. I really enjoyed that. He's a different guy, so when people say he's tight or he's worried that the season's going, you know, he got a contract now, none of that applies to this guy. None of it.
None of it applies to him. He doesn't care. He's focused. He knows what he wants to do. He went out there tonight and I think he's, walked a couple guys and struck out 2 or 3. So he pitched tonight and he had fun. That's how tough it is. He's out there and he said working on things, trying to tweak his motion to try to figure out where he's missing and where he's letting the ball loose too early or holding on to it too long. So that's how tough it is for these guys to go out there every day and find that and be comfortable. It's not as easy as it looks, and even though they're in the big leagues and they're professionals, they still have to fight it, and they're looking for it constantly.
If it's true that chicks dig the long ball, then they love the Cardinals tonight. Cardinals had 4 home runs, one of them by Ryan Ludwig. We'll hear from him next on the postgame show. Stay with us.